Joining me now, Senior Fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, Bill Roggio, and Medal of Honor recipient, David Bellavia. All right, David, we'll begin with you. How would you assess the mission?
Well, look, quick admin point. It turns out, evidently, Secretary Hegseth found the leaker at the Pentagon because this thing was clandestine. It was quiet. No one knew a thing about it. We've got cruise missiles coming out of the water, 2.5 hours launched. They hit with precision timing while we crawl into Iranian airspace. And the retaliation, you could track on Uber Eats. They call us ahead of time. They tell us where it's going to be. I mean, at this point, we've got articles of impeachment against President Trump. Maybe it's time to carve Roosevelt off of Rushmore and make a big granite hat, because this is one of the most oppressive things we've seen in 50 years.
Bill, what do you make of the Iranian retaliation so far? I mean, it was telegraphed, choreographed, whatever you want to call it. What does that indicate?
Yeah, Jesse, I think the Iranian response was meager at best. It was, if they telegraphed this, they clearly didn't want U.S. casualties. I don't want to downplay the threat to the U.S. troops in the region, but we were given all the notice. It was a limited volley. It was destined to fail. I mean, certainly there was a chance it could go through, but if this was the Iranians trying to show their strength, they would have been better off, in my estimation, to not launch at all and to show their weakness for all. I want to make one quick point, Jesse. As far as I do fear that, the battle damage assessment for that strike on Fort Al particularly might be a little premature. We don't actually know if those facilities have been fully destroyed or even how far they've been set back. I would like to have had a little time for that to breathe for the administration if it needed to conduct a follow-on strike, because we do not want, in the end, the goal of this mission was to stop a nuclear-armed Iran, and we needed to take out that program.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some assets in place on the ground there to give us some better intel soon. David, the ceasefire, he's giving each side 12 hours to kind of take their last shot and then call it a day. Do you think this thing holds?
Oh, first of all, how is it a ceasefire when we're asking Israel for permission to fly over Iranian airspace? I mean, it's a little insulting to. I don't even understand what Iran's going to take any deal at this point to save face. They made the one mistake of, you had the Gulf Arab states that were out loud waving a finger at the Americans, but secretly saying "attaboy" to President Trump. And now the Gulf Arab states can tell the truth out loud and say, Iran, you're isolated. Don't piss us off. We're going to come at you ourselves. I mean, this is a true coalition. And again, this is a president who, we've heard a lot of comparisons to Reagan, but I'm still upset about Beirut in '83 and the lack of response from President Reagan at a time when we really needed a response. No more Reaganism. This, to me, is a new standard. And I think President Trump deserves a lot of credit for it.
So, Bill, what does the Middle East look like now? I mean, can we get out? Have we created a different balance of power so we can kind of shift our focus to the Pacific or back here at home?
The terms of the ceasefire, what this actually means, this is the real question. Sure, there may be a ceasefire directly between Iran and Israel, but what about the proxies that Iran has sponsored? What about the Houthis? What about Hezbollah? Does that war with Hamas end? These are the real questions. These proxies aren't going to go away overnight. And if this ceasefire does not include stopping these proxies from attacking U.S. forces, from attacking international shipping, from attacking Israel, this war will be back on. So the U.S. needs to be very careful. It's one thing to declare a ceasefire. It's another thing to see it play out and for it to be extended over weeks, months, and years.
But, David, doesn't the regime have control over these proxies? Can't they tell them to knock it off? I mean, if they start with Hezbollah and Hamas all over again, I mean, they know what the response would be.
No, Bill's 100% correct. These proxies are like Shark Tank. They're auditioning for Iranian money. And so you have no control. You don't know who's going to go out there and do something squirrely just to get attention. And listen, don't forget about ISIS. ISIS is out there. These are narcissists. The worst thing in the world is a narcissistic terrorist who's like, what about me? Don't forget about me. ISIS will fill this void while everyone's looking at Iran and the proxies. You can't control the proxies. We're talking about hundreds of militias in Iraq that all want funding from the regime. They're going to do whatever they can to look like they're number one, like they're the next Hezbollah and Hamas now that they're wiped out. And then ISIS is over there in the wings, and they'll jump in at any time just to bring the attention back to them.
Yeah, only thing worse than a narcissistic terrorist, narcissistic cable news host, but we'll leave that there. Bill, do you worry about the Iranians having secret programs, having enriched uranium that they could just spin up in the dark? Because right now, I mean, that was their only leverage, this program, and now essentially it could be gone. How do they react?
I think the Israelis have demonstrated that they have fantastic intelligence inside of Iran. If there were secret programs, I expect we would know about it. What I'm more concerned about, and what we don't know the answer to, is were the Iranians able to smuggle out the enriched uranium that was at the Fort Al facility and elsewhere? Were they able to take centrifuges and be able to set them up elsewhere? And if they're able to do that, is the U.S., is the Israel going to be willing to go back in and strike? This is where Trump's rhetoric about there being peace, peace in our time. Again, I always urge caution in these situations. It may look like peace for the next 12 hours or 24 hours of next week or month, but if Iran is secretly trying to rebuild its nuclear program, what is going to be done, and what face saving, or how bad do we look if we went through all this effort and we declared peace in our time, and yet the Iranians are back to business of restarting its nuclear program?
Let's just pray that that's not the case. So China's looking at this, David. Russia's looking at this. The whole world's watching this. What kind of message did it send?
Well, first of all, Russia, I mean, this was the perfect time if you were going to take a swing at the regime in Iran. Russia's got 99 problems, and, the Middle East is not one of them. You got China today saying, we want our oil. 1/5 of the oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz. But the other fact is that's a chunk, almost 50% of what China's bringing in. If you were going to tell me a week ago that this war, quote unquote, would last 12 days, stocks would go up and oil would go down, I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't even know what to say. No one would have saw this.
I mean, it's too good to be true. That's why I don't even want to say anything. I feel like I'm going to jinx it. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Bill, David, we really appreciate you guys. Have a great night.